much ukuthi seniphinde futhi nabukele 1KZN TV Khuluma Sizwe kelela njengabo bonke lesithathu sima ku 7:30 sihlala phansi sikulethela ama celebrities, ama entrepreneurs, artists of any kind. Wonke umuntu who's doing exceptionally well kwi-field akasuke ekuyona. Sisilelana sihlezi with people of great minds sizama ukushare and understand i-journey yabo kuze kube manje. So kwakuhlala kanjalo for the next 30 minutes or so sibone ukuthi namhlanje ubani uzobe sishonile e-studio nanokuthi sikhuluma ngani. Igama lami ke ngu-BK Zungu. Welcome to Khuluma Sizwe. Without any further ado, as I'm so going to be joining us here in the studio. If you have any comments on today's show, mhlawumbe ufuna ukubuza imibuzo kwi-guest yethu sihleli nayo namhlanje kulula kakhulu hamba straight to kwi-Facebook page yethu Khuluma Sizwe on 1KZN TV or follow us on Twitter Khuluma Sizwe at 1K or simply call 0357898855 if when you like to actually tell us about umuntu onomazi who's doing great things, exceptional things in the community, like an entrepreneur, an underground business person. It's easy when I will phone Latina Tina get his profile, and before you know it, boom, hola, that's a studio. Today in studio we are joined by a man of many talents.
Yeah.
We had to practice that before. Yeah. So thank you very much for joining us. We are very much privileged.
Thank you. It's great to be with you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so like I've told you before off air, today's show is about you telling us something that you've never told any other TV station before.
Oh yeah?
Tell us where you grew up. How did you grow up? How did you become the person that you are right now?
Okay. Well, I grew up in Johannesburg, in a township called Eldorado Park. Eldos, extension 7. And, I have great memories of the place. Playing in the streets, marbles, kids running all over. We'd stay and watch TV at like 4 or 5 o'clock. Then you run out, after you've watched Rabobi, Spider-Man, and you playing on the grass with all your friends. And then your mom's calling you, Colorado, come inside, it's supper time, Yeah. Those are the memories I have, playing with a bicycle in the streets, going around, making kites out of bamboo trees and bamboo sticks and those kind of things. So I have good memories of growing up in the township. But my life radically changed at one point.
Tell us about that.
So I was 8 years old. And I was staying with my mom and dad, and my father ran into a gangster who was harassing a girl that we all knew, and he tried to intervene and try to get this guy to stop. And unfortunately, he was murdered at that point, trying to assist this girl. So, that left me, my brother and my mom all alone. And, life was difficult. I didn't understand it. I was like, hey, where's my father? What happened to him?
How old were you when he
I was 8 years old, 8 years old. So that was, one of the rough things growing up. And actually learning to forgive this guy and let him go was a challenge,
So right now you have forgiven the guy?
Yeah, I have.
Are you a strong person? I would never!
Yeah.
I'll be one of my revenge. No, I'm kidding.
I have, and we had to move on, you know what I mean? As a youngster, you don't really understand it much, so I just knew that he wasn't around and that we had to move on. And my mom then got involved with some other guy. And, things started out fine, but then later it became a very rough situation.
The stepfather situation.
Yeah, why do we have to grow up in these situations?
Why can't you go to your own home?
Exactly, And, this guy started out good and at a certain point would start beating my mom. And I remember sitting outside the room waiting for her to make a noise sometimes so that I could go in and tell this guy to stop. What can a kid do, And so growing up, I have great memories, but there are some definitive moments that I think could have changed my life forever. But By God's grace, things in my life changed.
Eh?
Yeah, man. So what happened was this guy would beat her up, and at a point, it got to where he nearly killed her. And she came home because he worked pretty far out, and she was with him at that workplace. Ran away from there, got me, and we left in a day's time. So when people speak about abuse and women abuse, it's something that I feel strongly about. In a sense that I've experienced it, you know what I mean? So I know what it does to a home, and I know the fear that develops, or even the resulting anger, and the cycle just continues if there's not intervention or it doesn't stop. So what happened at that point was I was at a boarding school, and a very good private boarding school, that I was in, and my mom was like, "Look, son, I have to take you out of this school." And I was like, if I'm out of here, I'm gonna be at home in this whole situation.
You want to see all of that.
For a youngster to be in that environment is just not great. So at that particular point, I had a bursary holder come to the school, and they were like, "We want to offer 2 kids for the rest of their schooling."
Were you
bursaries.
a smart kid?
I was.
Average.
No, I was a good student. I worked really hard, and I'd often, kind of be in the top 2 in my academics.
So compulsory time you were amongst the 2 kids?
I was one of the 2 kids.
Then allow me to say you were a smart kid.
I was a smart kid, yeah. And for me, that made a way for me to go through school. I had everything paid, and it was at some really great schools. There was order, there was discipline. It was at like on the Catholic boarding school, and hey man, if you messed around there, sometimes the priests they didn't talk. They just wapa, backhand. So even though we were a lot of not rough or tough boys, but like boys,
Going through the phase.
Going through the phases. They had a good hand on us, I'll tell you one interesting experience. So at night, you're sleeping in this boarding house, bed locker. This was like the younger kids. So the priest comes and he switches the lights off, and it's supposed to be now everybody's supposed to sleep. You maybe have 5 minutes because there's a dim light on. You can maybe read something and then put it down. Once the lights go off, silence. No messing around. So the one night, I said discipline was heavy. So the one night the priest goes, he switches off the light. Boys are chilling. And then he switches off the final light. And the one guy decides to go in the corner. So everybody kind of starts to catch on everywhere around the boarding house. The guys are coughing. So the priest comes, he puts the light on. Everything goes quiet. He stands in the one corner.
Silence and sleeping.
Total silence. This guy was tall and he was big. He stands there and he says, "You want to mess? We'll mess. You take me on, I take you on." Lights up, quiet, nobody said a thing, never happened again.
So after that break, we're going to be talking about you becoming an artist and things that you had to oversee and go and have challenges on and fight your way through.
Cool.
Everything about that, we're going to be talking about it. Emva kwaleli khefa kuhlela njalo ungayindawo unganyakazi mhlawumbe nawe uartist wena ufuna ukwazi ukuthi gcineni kosuku uphuma la uphuma khona ufika kanjani la ufika khona kulula kakhulu hlala kanjalo nekhuluma Sizwe. Siphinde sibonge futhi nokuhlala ne-1KZN TV. Namhlanje ke in studio sihlezi no-Carlo, a man of many talents, jack of all trades. He's a singer, he's an actor, he's a dancer, and now venturing into business. If mhlawumbe nawe you wanna do into of this nature wakho ukuhlela kanjalo ungashithi unganyakazi, mhlawumbe you get a point or two kanjalo. Igama lami ke nguPK Zunguleni Khuluma Sizwe. It's Wednesday. Isikhathi ukuthi sihlale phansi and do this again. So, we were still talking about you out of school now.
Yeah.
Yes, after that, what happened?
So after school, well, from school I went and I decided I was going to study to do medicine. And,
medicine.
That's right. That's right. So to be a doctor, you know. And so I did 3 years of a BSc, and then I did my 4th year BSc honors. And from that year I was meant to go into the WITS graduate program for, well, the new medical program that they had going. And something really strange happened to me around that time. Something inside of me changed, and I always thought to myself, don't do something that one day you're going to end up regretting. I knew I never wanted to sit behind a desk. It was boring for me. I was one of those kids, you know, I needed to be active and busy, you know. So I knew, and I love people. And when I finished my honors year, something inside of me just really switched, and I had an encounter with a young guy, and I thought, you know, I want to work with young people and be able to, you know, assist them through certain things, you know, because I had an encounter with this guy, and I saw him drunk, and he was messed up, and I didn't know how to talk to him, you know. I thought, eish, bro, I know where you come from, but I don't even have words to say to you, you know, and I thought I never want to feel like that. So I thought, I'm going to stop what I'm doing, I'm going to take a gap year, and I'm going to work with youth. And
coming back home saying, hey, mom, hey, take a break from medicine.
I took a break. Look, I remember sitting at Nando's, and I sat my mom down and said, look, mom, I'm not going to do medicine next year. She's like, what? You've been wanting to do this for these last years, and your studies are going to go to waste. And I said, you know what, I know what I feel in my heart. And the one thing I decided in my life was put God first and follow your heart, you know. And for me, that it really worked out, you know, because I felt like God was leading my path, you know, and I needed to do what was in my heart, you know, not what other people thought was good for me. Although I was the one that was deciding all along, you know. I thought, I'm going to keep going with this because it's working out. And so I got involved with youth. I started to coach basketball. I did youth nights, Fridays, weekends, and youth camps. And you know, when you're working with youth, you got to try something cool. And that cool thing that I tried was dance. So we would go on a youth camp, and you know, I always had these friends when I was growing up. You know, you grow up in the township, you know, say, don't dress like that. You know, leave those things. You have to wear pants like this and a shoe like this and a shirt like that. Otherwise you don't fit in, you know. And I try to dance a different way, you know, like funky, and they were like, we don't dance like that. You know, I was like, okay, yeah. So I used to sit in front of the TV and watch, and I enjoyed it, you know. But I never had the opportunity because the environment I was in wasn't conducive or accepting of that. And I think as a person, the environment you're in is so important. You know, if you're not in an environment, doesn't matter how much potential you have inside of you, like a seed, that seed needs to be in the right environment. And it just seemed for me that I got into the right environment, you know, when I started to work with the youth. Anything went. You could try this, you could try that, you could do that, you know. And I thought, I'll dance. And I actually made the dance audition. And the guy was like, you know, let this be something special for somebody. And that person was me. So from the youth camp, you know, I started to like feel I enjoy this. I trained, I took classes at different places. And then somebody came and said, you know, come do a gig for me. I'll give you $200. I was like, what?
Well, I'm actually getting paid for this.
You can get paid. I mean, I was like, what, you know? And so I did it, $200 for a gig, and then it grew. Somebody else saw me, and they're like, come, $500. And then I went to Sun City, and I got 2,000 Rand for I did a Miss World gig. I was like, what? This is too good, man. I'm on holiday, I'm getting paid, and I'm enjoying it. It doesn't sound right. So I come home the one day from a gig, and my mom's like, son, you know you need to get a real job. I was like, ish.
Doesn't think of yours. You're not going to be 75 and dancing.
You know, so I'm like, yeah, okay. And I was doing some business along that at that time in health and nutrition, so along the lines of what I was studying. And I went to try to hand out my flyers in public, and nobody was taking them. I tried to call my clients, nobody picked up. At the end of the day, I was down, man. I went and I sat in the library. I was like, "Ish, Lord, you gotta help me out here, What am I gonna do?" That week, a friend of mine called me. He said, "Carlo, auditions, Miss S18, 5,000 Rand, 2 weeks, let's go." So I went with him. And at these auditions, there were hundreds of people in the hall, And I'm trying to do this whole thing in double turns. And I didn't even know what they were doing. So Mizi was actually choreographing it and hosting the audition. And I was like, oh man, I can't do these things. And I was falling around myself. And all along, they're cutting the people off and saying, go home, go home. And I thought, any minute now, they're going to send me home. But came to the end and like, you guys go, the rest of you, get your wardrobe fitted. I was like, what? Me? I'm in. Yeah. And I made it, by just taking a risk and following my heart and the thing that I was passionate about. Because what you're passionate about, you will most likely make a success of your life.
True.
Because when it gets tough, passionate people can push through, And from this space, where I did Miss Teen, I met so many new people. My confidence grew. I got an artist agent. And I said, send me for anything, acting, dancing, singing, whatever, And I went for a singing audition, got into a boy band. We recorded a single. And then backstage I got into because they were looking for somebody who could play the piano and, had a certain look and a feel about him. And it was my first acting audition. So I'd never acted a day in my life. And I thought, just be natural. Little did I know there was a lot more to it. So backstage for me was a real godsend. That set my career, people got to know me. I didn't even know what backstage was. My friends were like, yo, dude.
You didn't know before you went in?
No. They were like, I had an idea, but I'd never really watched it, They were like, I'm backstage. I was like, I didn't really get the picture anyway. Because for me, I was just doing what I loved, And then, my whole life changed. I was earning.
And after that break, we're still going to be talking about earning, money.
Yes.
Let's hold it.
Yes.
We'll see after that break. Please do not go anywhere. And you do not want to miss the last part of the show because this is where we ask him super personal questions.
Ooh.
Sibonge ukuthi nisahlele nibhekele i1 KZN TV igama lami uBK wakazungu. In studio today sihlezi nekholo umuntu osekade senike nambona edlala ku backstage Light of Umbango. What am I missing?
I did backstage Mubango, Villarosa. I did some films, both locally and internationally. I just finished actually about a month ago an international film for Warner Brothers Studios that'll be coming out in August. And in December on ABC networks in America. So
You're her.
Yeah. And then I've done theater as well, so local theater, some big musicals like Fame the Musical, for which I won an Lady Award, Big Band Blast.
What haven't you done? If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
How do I look?
I would say 2 to be on the safe side of things. You look like you're 2. You've never had a feel of a sun, nor rain, nor wind.
Well, I'm 37. So, Yeah.
Okay. You look 27.
I do look a lot younger than
You know this.
than I am. Yeah, a lot of people say it, but it helps me because
yeah.
television I can go for various roles.
You understand? You can still play a very rebellious teenager.
I can,
Yeah.
and I do.
Okay, so let's talk about your first acting experience.
Yeah.
You said you just auditioned to try being natural and all of that.
Yeah.
But with these first things comes first experiences, right?
It does.
Now you have to speak a certain way, convince people that you're this character,
Yes.
kiss people here,
Yeah.
fall in love with people. You have to kiss in the scene and this person doesn't want you.
Yeah.
You know, how is that? The whole atmosphere, how did you get your head around that?
You know, it was tough initially because I quickly realized there was a lot more to acting than just being natural.
Yeah.
There's technique, there's timing, there's somewhat of a science behind it. But I had an acting coach on set that I worked with every single day of my life. For about 1.5 years, I feel like I went through university with this woman. She had coached many of the top actors beforehand, and I had one-on-ones with her pretty much every day. So that was a real blessing for me. You know, it helped me through everything, and I think really set me up for the rest of my career.
And then singing, how did that come about?
Singing, it was just something I enjoyed. You know, it was something I did in church, in
How
school.
old were you when you knew you could sing?
Well, I was pretty young, I think. Grade 7, when I started singing, like maybe school choir.
So you sang there and they were like, oh my God, did people cry? And all
No,
that?
they didn't cry. You know, I mean, I did get a solo in the one thing, and because I was playing piano as well. But it wasn't something that I really took seriously. You know, I was more into my sports and academics growing up because, like I said, you know, the environment I was in wasn't very accepting of the arts.
Okay. So, first job
Yes.
as an actor.
First job as an actor
Was backstage? Second job.
Second job, from backstage, I was recruited or headhunted into Fame the Musical by a wonderful South African producer, Hazel Feldman. She does many big international shows. And that was my first taste of being what you would say a triple threat, where I had to dance, act, and sing on stage. I loved it. I loved the energy of theater. You go out there, sweat every night, you know what I mean? Work hard, break dance, rap, whatever. I played that rebellious character over there. And, you know, from there, it grew. I did some more theater and then some international theater, We Will Rock You. And then, I mean, just kept going in between film, television, presenting. And then I grew to write, choreograph, and direct. So that's what I do right now.
Okay, so now it's those questions.
Aish.
I'm really trying to
How
get
many do you have?
50.
50. Do we have enough time?
More than enough time.
All right, let's go.
That was just 5 questions. Okay, so first question, what was the last picture you had taken of you? Okay, what last picture did you take of yourself on your phone?
On my phone, oh my God.
Where were you doing what?
You know what, I was right here in Richards Bay on the waterfront, and I was sitting outside Namjai, the restaurant over there, and I had my shoes up. I like colorful shoes, you know, especially I had them up
You
like
don't
that.
say, on my red couch.
On your red car, and I was taking a selfie with all the boats in the harbor over there, you know. I was like, I'm out here in Richards Bay, ships in the harbor, just chilling.
In my red shoes.
In my red shoes.
Yeah.
My red New Balance.
Okay, second question. Would you rather be ugly and live forever or attractive and die in a year?
Die in a year.
If you're gonna be attractive, die in a year.
Man.
And you ugly, like I'm here living, red shoes and green shoes every day, all day. But you are ugly. So you'll be taking pictures of the shoes.
You know, that is a tough one. I mean,
Really?
yeah.
You are a guy, you're not
look,
supposed
okay,
to care
'cause
about
the
looks.
thing is,
Or are you supposed to care about looks?
who wants to live forever? First of all, I mean,
I want to live forever.
On Earth.
On Earth, I want to live forever,
You wanna
given
live
I do not
forever?
age. I
Okay.
might be ugly, but I don't want to age.
Okay. Look, I think it's important to look after yourself. no matter how you look. I don't think there's an ugly person.
Can you please answer between the two questions? Stop trying
I
to
would
justify
live forever.
And be attractive. Oh, and be ugly.
Be ugly, yeah.
Okay, because you know it's something you don't know anything about. Anyway, third question. Would you be willing to lie in a court for a friend if it means saving your friend from coming to jail? Would you do that? Lie
for a friend if it means saving him going to jail.
For the rest of their lives.
For the rest of his life. I would.
You would?
Yeah.
Stand there and lie.
I would.
In the house of law and lie.
Well, if somebody comes and they come to the door and it's somebody that's threatening my family, saying, is your wife or your son here? I'm not going to say yes. I'm going to say no, because my higher value is people and protecting people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If it was a friend I was protecting and I knew that, he was wrong or whatever, I would say no, he's not here. But I would have a conversation with him to say, dude, what are you doing? What's happening here? You need to fix this. You know what I mean?
So you're a good friend.
So, yeah, I believe in being a good friend.
Okay. Fourth question. You're still enjoying this question?
Yeah, these are some tough questions you're asking here.
Fourth question. What question do you hate answering?
What question?
All of the above.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3.
What question, whenever you go for an interview or you meet a person who does not know you like that, and then a person asks you this kind of question? Just one question.
One question that they ask me that I don't like or I'm not comfortable with. I don't know. I've got to be honest. Maybe ask me a few and give me some examples, and maybe I can.
I don't know. All the questions I can't ask are the questions I've been asking you.
Let me see.
So pretty much you don't have questions you hate answering.
No, there isn't really, because I enjoy interaction. I enjoy interaction with people, so even if it's an uncomfortable question, for me it's an opportunity that raises a conversation, and you know what I mean? Maybe I can have something positive to say that
or try
that
change the nature of the question. That's what you do. Okay, last question.
Woo.
If you had a brainwashing machine,
yes,
what would you choose to eliminate from your head forever? I never want to have this memory in my head ever again.
Wow, man. There's definitely some experiences that I would want to remove. I think maybe some of the things that I spoke about earlier. If I had the opportunity to have a father with me here now, I think that would be something so valuable to me, because I can see the result in some of the gaps in my life where I struggle. Where I know if there was somebody there that I could talk to that could guide me, it would be easier. So I would definitely want to eliminate that factor or that event of losing my father.
Okay, thank you very much for tuning into KZN TV. Until next time, and I make sure to you let everybody know what's PK what's on your TV, and I had Carlo. And if you want to catch it repeated, it's the same time we're going on after 7 on a Thursday. We'll see you next week, Wednesday, 19:30. That's when we'll be sitting down with another face, sharing another success story on the same TV station. Okay, so we'll be seeing you then.